My name is Michael Dugan, and I host a podcast interviewing chefs and culinary artists, sharing their stories of success across the globe. I launched in May of 2021, and by September, I was pretty frustrated. It was hard to get guests to come on the show because they were so busy in their restaurants with the pandemic, and I didn't know what to do. So I decided to change direction, and I attended this amazing webinar called the Podcast Guest Visibility Lab with Nancy Juetten. She held this session. It was a webinar for a week, and it was 1 hour a day. And then we had homework, and people from all over the world attended this session. They had small businesses. They were professional speakers, authors of books, even podcasters like me. What was so unique about it was she helped us create what's called a media one sheet to be ready to be a podcast guest, to be ready for the media at any time. When the lab ended, when the webinar ended, I remember feeling this push from Nancy. It was a really strong push to keep going, to podcast guests, to get yourself out there. I'll give you an example. I was listening to a podcast that I really wanted to be on and share this story about my podcast, Voice for Chefs. And I remember about 10 minutes into the show, the guest hadn't shown up. Something happened. The hosts were starting to panic, and I was chatting with one of them. And he said, Michael, you have a podcast that you interview chefs. Why don't you come on and tell us about it? Because of this visibility lab, this webinar, I was ready to go. I jumped on and interviewed for 45 minutes. That led to other guest podcasting last year. The second thing that happened was I jumped into Clubhouse and I started speaking on stage in Clubhouse in front of 10, 20, 30, 40 people in different rooms in Clubhouse. And I joined a group called Food is Religion that has over 4,300 members. I connected with the Michelin-trained chef, Chef Mimi Lane. And she and I really connected, and we decided, or she asked me to host rooms with her. In fact, just recently, I hosted one of the cooking classes. We did an online cooking class together. And that directly related to me bringing on guests on the show. Now, instead of just local guests for my podcast, I have guests coming from Australia, Peru, the Philippines, England, and Canada in the next few months. I can't thank you enough, Nancy. And if you're interested in learning about podcast guesting and increasing your business and your visibility, you should attend her webinar on January 24th.